Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Transformational Talks with Coach BJ. This is a panel edition tonight, so come on into this live. We are so excited to get ready to get started. And one of our other panel members, he'll be coming in right off of another meeting, so he'll be coming in soon. So just come on in the room. Come on in, guys. And when you come in, let us know that you are here. Welcome this evening to Transformational Talks. We're so excited to get into this conversation tonight. So let's get ready. You see one of my beautiful panel guests right now. And we're going to be introducing everyone in a few minutes. So I just want to wait to see some people get on and let us know that you are here. Let us know that you are here. Good evening. I see people are now beginning to come on. Let us know that you are here tonight with us if you so desire. If you so desire, let us know that you are here this evening in the comments. And for those of you who are coming on, go ahead and if you feel led to do so, go ahead and share this live. We want to really share it with some business owners and those of you out there that support small businesses and just businesses in general. And even for those of you who just choose not to support, we want everyone's input tonight. We want to get feedback from everybody tonight. So good evening, Deborah, as always, my love. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And so we just want everybody to share. I know you've already shared, Deborah. We're going to have some other folks to come on in. And again, we want everyone to share with those business owners and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, everybody that you know who is creative and developing products and services. We want everyone to come on in. So I'm going to go ahead and, get started because I'm always mindful of the time and everybody will join when they have a chance. And for those of you who are catching a replay, you are in for a treat tonight as well. So before I get into what we're going to talk about tonight, and even I'm going to actually recap my talk from last week and recap some highlights and some points from last week as well. But I want to introduce our guest tonight. And as I said, before you guys coming on in, we have our other panel. He's coming right in off of another meeting. So he's going to be joining us pretty soon here. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce lovely Denise this evening. There's so much I can say about her. It really is. And I don't, even me reading this little bit I'm going to read about you is definitely does not even fit, all the things that she does. But Denise is a TV evangelist and she is a podcast host. She does relationship and marriage coaching, empowerment of women, ladies and girls, specifically focus on women with terrible past. She is a Christian transformational speaker, power driver of emotional intelligence and sales training is what she do by day. And, at Empowered Woman, her mission is to create and foster environments of full engagement that help encourage, build, and empower women, young adults, ladies, and girls to be excellent in everything that they choose to accomplish in life, regardless of the hurdles, their ethnic background, or even generational successes or failures. Her forums foster spiritual, emotional, and social awareness that in turn build unity, community, knowledge, and self-confidence, which are essential as it relates to wise application of social, emotional, environmental, economic, and life skill success. And she also promotes social justice for sure. So I also want to, even though he is not on yet, I want to go back and also introduce our other panel guest tonight, Damian Johnson. He is a CEO and executive coach, a director with the John Maxwell team. He is an international trainer, speaker, and executive coach. He joined the John Maxwell team in 2011, and he serves on the President's Advisory Council. Damian is passionate about helping individuals find their purpose, and as a program advisor with the John Maxwell team, he has the privilege of enrolling new members into this global team of exceptional leaders. As an international speaker and trainer, Damian has trained internationally in Costa Rica and Liberia. He graduated from Morehouse College and had a career in banking, finance, and mortgage industry. He is the founder and CEO of Mandeville Ingleside LLC and lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with his wife, Kendra, and their 3 beautiful children. So we will welcome Damien. And for some of you who followed my transformational talks over the last close to a year now, he was actually one of my experts in December that really talked about focus. So some of you may remember him from last time coming on. So but again, I wanted to kind of kick off the conversation before we add in questions to the panel, and that would also allow Damien a little bit more time to come in. As I said, he's coming off of another meeting. But if not, it'll just be me and Denise, and we just gonna roll with this thing. So now that I have introduced my esteemed guest for this evening, I wanted to share a few points I made last week to really kick off this conversation that we're talking about. And I talked about the myths and the truths about people being jealous or envious about supporting businesses, right? And so I know that was somewhat of a thought-provoking kind of topic, but I brought up points from small business owners' perspective. And I also brought up a few points on why this could lead to them, being jealous, really, is what I, kind of brought up. And so one of the things that I really pointed out from the business owner perspective is, why does, social media post like, family pictures and, job promotions and, celebrations, all these various things, they get more press than a business. And, specifically, I think about, when people say they got a promotion on their job, everybody is just like, they're great, they're roaring, they're doing all these great things, but when it comes to someone saying that, hey, oh my God, guys, I've started my own business. But again, the likes are very few. You get maybe 1, 2, 3, or you promoting something that you're doing, a book or, a program or anything. It just doesn't get as much attention. Of course, you got the same people on your, your friends list and everything else, but it just doesn't seem to get the same attention, So I really wanted to really bring light to this subject on, like I said, both ends. And I also gave the example of someone being so bold to tell, a business owner that they didn't want to support their business, which I thought was a very bold thing. I kind of touched on that as well. And I also talked about how it starts, right? I said that you go to school, you get an education, you get a good job, you climb the corporate ladder, right? And you make a lot of money and then you retire, right? And then you prepare for your last wishes. That's kind of like the order of life is what, most of us was taught, right? And so, and I think that's a lot of it is where it starts, because in people's minds, like that's the path. It's not so much as entrepreneurship or owning your own business or having your own products or, developing the God-given gift that you've been given. And, and I talked about some other reasons people's success could secretly, bother them. And I said, because it's a lack of knowledge. I think a lot of people, they want to feel like somebody. In addition, I think it's missed opportunities, so when they see you, I said, it makes them look at themselves, which could be, very disappointing. And so those are some of the points that I brought out in my talk last week as it relates to the business owner and kind of what we think. And, we'll get into some of the other questions and, hopefully we'll have, some business owners and some other people join so we can, get some other feedback from some of the people that, will be watching. And so I then brought it from the consumer perspective as to why your business is not being supported. Right. And so from the consumer, from their perspective and talking to them, they said that, you might not have the products and services that meet their needs. So that's probably one of the reasons why they don't support, and that's valid. And consumers don't like being pressured in supporting their business. I hear a lot of people tell me that they feel pressured, they feel pressured and guilty. So a lot of times they'll just either not support it because they feel that way, or they may feel guilty and they may just support it out of guilt, but that's not being honest, about things, because you lead, us as business owners to believe that you really like our products and services, which, hey, Damien.
Hey there.
So he's here. And Damien, I've introduced, you guys as my esteemed guests. And right now I'm just covering the points of, what we talked about, what I talked about last week before we get into some of the questions, and still giving people an opportunity to kind of come on in and join the conversation. And so, so now I'm on the consumer side where I'm just talking about people don't like to be pressured in supporting businesses. And, and then the consumers also say that, some of the prices are too high, but I also made a caveat to that, and sometimes it's not so much as our prices are too high. Sometimes as the business owner, we unfortunately don't set the expectations of our prices based on our worth at the beginning. Because quite honestly, a lot of times business owners at the beginning will just kind of give it away or give a discount, or we'll go above and beyond and do anything we need to do just to get the business, try to get some money or generate some income, So really it's the business owner fault as us, because we don't really, a lot of times as new business owners, we don't quite know our value or our worth yet. So we price it that way. And so a lot of times if people support us at the beginning, getting in on the beginning, and then we raise our prices all of a sudden because now we have this epiphany of what our worth is, and we, raise our prices, then people tend to say, your prices are too high. Well, it's not so much as really that. It's kind of like I finally know what I'm worth, right? So again, I just think it's kind of a double-edged sword with that, as far as the prices being too high, it can be kind of a problem on both ends of the spectrum. And so, another 2 points that I made was that, consumers a lot of times are annoyed when people are promoting a new business every month. You have a person, unfortunately, I know my guests are laughing, but these are real conversations that I've had with people, who feel like, you don't have stability. And so it kind of leads people to believe that you're just out to get money. Do you really even know what do you really know what problem you're solving, or are you really appealing to me, or are you just wanting to make money? Because a lot of people come out, well, I have this new business and I have this, I have nothing against multi-level marketing companies, but they can start with this type of, multi-level marketing company. They come back with something else next week because somebody else told them, that, man, this is good. It's going to make you a lot of money. Marketing this.
We can't trust that. We can't trust that. I can't trust you. You jumping from one thing this week and one thing the next week. Come on.
Right, exactly. And so again, consumers like, no, you're not stable, and I don't know if I really trust you. So it's like, okay, you're not really passionate about what you're doing. You kind of all over the place, reaching for straws, And so, and then I kind of said, I believe until you look inside and realize your own gift and start walking into your path and your destiny, you will most likely secretly be bothered, by the success of others, not because you truly don't want them to be successful, but it's typically because you really haven't found your space, your own success. As you're looking at someone else, it causes you to have to look at yourself and do a pulse check and look at, where am I, success-wise, or the lack thereof, right? And so, with that being said, those are just some of the points that I covered, last week. And if I see that there's more people, kind of beginning to come on. So if you're a business owner, I would love to know, if you're on here, listening from a business owner's perspective, or a consumer and supporter. So now I want to kind of shift gears. Now that I've kind of did a recap of my talk of last week and some of the highlights of that, I want to shift gears, and I want to take some time to ask our panel a few questions from the business owner perspective. And just so for the viewers, I would like for you to kind of chime in. If there's going to be some stuff in the chat, we'll look at those and address those as they come in. And if not, we'll just, keep moving along with what we have. And I'll let my panel guest that I will be also asking you a few questions that's going to shift you as the consumer hat. So I want to be able to also give your myths and truths about both perspectives based on these questions that I'm going to ask. And so either one of you can kind of, chime in. I'm going to, like I said, start from the business owner perspective. So either one of you or both of you, if you would like, it's free reign to ask this question. So the first question I want to ask is, what are your expectations as a business owner when you are looking for support? So I need for you guys to wear your business owner hats now, both of you are business owners. So when you're looking for support, what are you looking for?
Well, Denise, would you like to go first?
Absolutely.
Ladies first.
Now, Damien, we already talked about this. You're going to have to kind of hold me down a little bit. So, this is a hot topic.
I'm going to nudge you out the way in a little bit. I was like, oh, come on back.
In love, brother. In love, okay?
In love. You know
what we talked about. So, I would like to say this because you said, first of all, thank you, Bernicia, for having us on. I mean, it's super cool. I love your platform. I support your platform. I support, I like and share and all of that with the family stuff and the professional stuff. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm not just hiding behind your stories, okay? I try to pop in on all that stuff you got going on. But what I would like to say in regards to answering your question is I think a lot of times, and I was this way a lot before until I started doing a lot of self-examination. A lot of times we really don't dissect the meaning of support. Okay. And so a lot of people, to support someone's business, we're thinking we got to buy it and we got to like it. Okay. And I'm coming from a position of a Christian right now, real quickly, Christian business owner, because support has so many different pillars, right? It can mean that you approve of it, you show approval, you might just show up, you might encourage that person, that support, you might financially support them, you might share it. Okay, you might not like, I know we were talking about skincare, you might not like the skincare, you might still be using Dove and Vaseline on your face. You don't want to use a fancy, So, however, support also means share it. So if I don't have 9 million likes on it, but maybe I have 4,120 shares because somebody else might, that's support, right? Support also to me real quickly could be giving me feedback,
Yes.
And I'll close with this on that question because there's so much I could say right there because that whole support, like I said, has a whole bunch of pillars on it. Doesn't mean you got to shell out some money, some duckies, some Benjamins, but also making sure that it's called Ubuntu. It's an African proverb. You've heard me say that a million times. It means I am because we are, right? And from the standpoint, listen, if you're not tearing down the kingdom, you're doing some really cool stuff. And I can see you manifesting that gift God gave you and it's helping people. Why not share? Why not encourage you? Why not give you some feedback? So that's what I expect, as it relates to support from not just, my circle of Christian friends, but my family, my church, my coworkers. I expect that type of support. I do as a business owner.
And thank you for that. I really like the fact that you said feedback because I don't think people realize that that is a part of support, that you can give feedback, And so, like I said, for those who are watching now and for those who will watch the replay, I think that was a really good call out and important. Damien, do you have anything to say to that?
Oh, of course I do. Absolutely.
I know you do.
So I think first and foremost, I think we need to level set the playing field, right? Because I think as an entrepreneur, you are a problem solver, and it's a whole lot of people out here with a business and it's not really meeting a need and solving a problem. Then you want everybody to support you. So I think the first question you have to ask yourself is when you're in business, what problem am I solving? Right? Because it can't be every time that you start a business, you come banging down the door of your your auntie them, your cousin them, Ray and Pookie them. Everybody got to, every time you jump into something, everybody got to support your stuff, right?
Right.
So I think we've got to make sure that what we're doing is meeting a legitimate need. And in terms of support, I'm not going to shy away from it. So I do think that particularly as Christians and as people of colors, I do think we should support financially. I'm not going to shy away from that. So if I'm providing a business and a service that meets your need, if it's something that you can use, then I do expect that if you know me, you love me, then spend a couple ducats with me because you go around the corner and spend double with the man, right? So come spend that with me and let the money circulate in the community, right? So I'm not going to shy away from that. The next thing that I would say here is what support really looks like. Who do you know that I should know? Right. Who can you introduce me to? What doors can you open? So if my product or my service doesn't meet your specific need, then who do you know that may need it? Who can you refer me to? Right? That's what it looks like. And I think so often we don't think about it. We say, well, I can't really use that. So, you turn a blind eye, you walk away. No, who do you know that needs the service that I provide? Who do you know that has a challenge that my solution can help them, and make those introductions. Who inside of your business network would be someone that would be good for me to partner with?
I love that.
Love
Yeah.
it.
So I think support should mean so support does not exclude you spending your money, but it's
Right.
bigger than that. It means you helping to get the word out. Yes, it means you using your social media platform to say, look, Bernita's got an app. How awesome. Share it with the world, right? My sister's opening a business. So proud of her. Another thing that we can do to support one another is words of affirmation. It is hard running a business. It's hard being an entrepreneur because unfortunately we'd like to think that when we start a business, we're gonna take off like this and we're gonna be where the money reside, where the money reside. And it don't work like that all the
It
time.
doesn't.
You're gonna go over some hills and through some valleys, and you're gonna make a left turn at Albuquerque when you should have made a right turn. And so sometimes you need people to come alongside you and say, don't quit. I know it's rough right now. Things might not be what you think they are, but just hang on in there. It's going to get better, because sometimes we have to step forward on the borrowed belief of other people.
That's
Yes.
right.
Every day I wake up, my faith is not on 100%, and I love the Lord, right?
Come
So
on now.
there's some times where I need somebody to come alongside and to encourage me, to say, look, just hang on in there. That's what support looks like, being someone that really believes. And if you can't spend the money, then share it, make some introductions, build some collaborative networks, and be an encourager.
Absolutely.
I
I love
love
it.
it. I
That was
love
a whole mouthful, right, Denise? Look.
I'm telling you. I'm
You're gonna
telling
have
you.
to rein me
Yeah.
in a minute.
Hold up.
So,
Wow. I think I got a mic I can drop, okay? There you go, David. Amen.
There you
oh my
go.
goodness. And so, one of the other questions, I want to ask, after that was really great, Damien. I mean, like, yeah, we was all like in the amen corner over here.
Yes.
So, again, to either one of you, have you ever identified people who aren't supportive? If so, have you ever questioned them as to why, or did you just let it go?
Tammy, you want to go first?
All right. I'll go. So I'll be honest and say that I have identified people that I expected to support me and did not. And for a long time, I was in my feelings about it.
Mm.
And you know what I did? I'm just gonna tell I'm gonna tell the truth and shame the devil today.
Come on. There you go.
I put the red dot on them, and they had the plague, and I just iced them, and they didn't even know it. And when I would be in their presence, I'm still just as courteous, still just as polite, but I don't fool with you no more, right? So I'm harboring aught in my heart, right? Because
Right.
I'm like, you didn't even support me, like I was counting on you, and you didn't even come by, and even you didn't tell nobody and share the post, and I know you saw my post, and we start telling myself this story, right? Now
Right.
I what I had to do is I had to get to the place and examine why I was feeling the way that I was feeling, right? And I think sometimes as a person of faith, you got to understand that God doesn't make mistakes. And sometimes what the problem is that we put in our trust in the wrong people.
Come on now.
We're putting our trust in people and expecting people to support us. But look, we know where the resources are. Our Father on 1,000 hills, our Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, right? And so sometimes we're putting pressure on people and putting and expectations on people. And here, there's a book that I read a long time ago, and the book said this, that the cause of most conflict is unmet expectations, and not only unmet expectations, but unagreed upon expectations and unspoken expectations. So unmet, unagreed upon, and unspoken expectations. You can't hold me hostage to something I did not agree to if we didn't even talk about it. So I had to get my heart right. There were many times I had to go down by the altar. I said, Lord, forgive me, because they did not agree to this. I shouldn't be holding them hostage. We never discussed this. And furthermore, I didn't even have the courage at the time to bring it up in a way to say, you know what? When I launched this thing and you didn't support me, it hurt. And I was really expecting that, right? So I didn't want to engage in the conflict. And so I hid it in my heart and I held them hostage, and they didn't know it. And you know what the problem with that is? They were living their life, going along their merry way. and I'm the one now bound up with this thing, and they don't even know about it.
Come on now. That's good. And thank you for your transparency
Yeah,
on that, Damien,
yeah,
because that is a hard truth that we honestly, I mean, I've been there. I mean,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And you have to realize that, you can't make nobody support you. You can't make it, and that's why I always say, if you if my products or services or whatever serves you, and everybody already know, I always tell myself, I'm not good at promoting myself anyway. So I don't even really know what heart I can have in my heart anyway, because I don't even promote my business. So, but at the end of the day, when you're looking for that, you're right. You're looking for that, for something that the person didn't even agree to. Denise, what do you
You
have?
know what? Yeah, I got to be transparent as well. That was me. It's not anymore, and I thank God for that. Where I did. Well, it's two sides of this. Okay, so I do believe that if you consider yourself, and I'm gonna say it again, I consider myself. You consider yourself a true Christian, because we got a lot of us go through that fake phase. Okay, and if you consider yourself a true friend, then yes, I expect that friend, when I only have a few, literally, to be my ride or die. I shouldn't have to ask them to support my business. Now, if I'm doing something crazy like the preacher is twerking and she's running around doing live TV show, that's a little different. Okay, now that's a big difference. But if I'm doing something for upbuilding the kingdom, and I'm a kingdom influencer, I'm working in my gifts, and God has blessed me with multiple gifts, not just one. And listen, he says, listen, you might have different gifts, different steps, different this, but I'm still the same God. And you have got to use those gifts that I've given you. And especially when you've been through a lot, hold up, there's some anointing on my life. I can't afford to be disobedient. I better be, look, I got this accountability. So when those individuals, whether it be family, friends, whatever, I do, when they don't support you, yeah, there's a certain feeling, because we're human. There's a certain feeling that you have, okay, especially when that you are being obedient to what God has for you to be. Now, I was that person where I didn't communicate on the front end, and I let it pile up. And then as soon as and listen, I'm with Damien. I'm very transparent. I'll let it pile up, and then when it hit me really hard, when I saw them like that post or I saw them support that person, I opened that book and I was on page 325, line 10 at 3:02 p.m. at 1925, and I was ready to give it to him. And then the Holy Spirit hit me and said, hold up. Exactly what my pastor tells me right now, Pastor Rico Miller. The Holy Spirit said that to me. Where is your focus? And my pastor says to me all the time, you got to keep the main thing, the main thing. So now it's one person that can get me to those 5,000 that I need to be using my God's purpose, not just good purpose, but God's purpose, right? And focus on that one, okay? Or like 74% of my followers and supporters are men. But I cater my message to, which what God gave me, to women, right? But 74% from my analytics are men. So what do? Do I get mad because this sister over here didn't like the post or that? We can't, that's a trick of the enemy. And so I don't do that anymore. And I don't call people, say, you're going to come see me today. You're going to buy my product. I do tell them what's in it for them. I sell the outcome. Okay, here's what you might expect to get from this particular Butterfly Leadership Initiative. This is what you might expect to get from this podcast. Okay, I would love your feedback. Bring it on to a sister. But I don't do that anymore. That was a process. I had to go through being petty and messy and worried about the wrong thing to get where God is slowly but surely getting me where I'm supposed to be in ministry, right? Which is it, right? So yeah, I was that person. I totally get it. But here's the but. Communication is critical. Okay. I do not believe in holding stuff in anymore. So if I feel like, especially with the discernment that God has given me that I'm exercising these days, if I feel like that's something that I need to have a conversation with that individual, we should have those conversations to say, when this happened, it made me feel this way. Am I accurate in that assumption, or is my product not for you? I really think you could value and I could value your feedback. So it becomes an exchange of conversation, which a lot of us don't do. We don't conversate because we're afraid to disagree. And a lot of times we're afraid to come together because that's some good stuff, right? I know it sounds crazy, but it's real. So I've identified people who are supportive, yeah, back in the day, but I don't. If I focus on that, I'm gonna lose my eye off the prize. I can't do kingdom work if I'm concerned about that one person who hides behind my stories, but will not like a post about my TV show if their life depended on it. I get 0 likes on my TV show, but when my birthday came, boy, woo! I had hundreds and thousands of views on that.
Because it goes back to that celebration. It goes back to that again. So again, it always begs the question as to why. But I thank you for your transparency about that too, because, again, I think just listening to, all three of us, if anybody who's watching live or will watch the replay, I want them to understand that we're real people and we're able to be honest. So hopefully even our honesty will help somebody else, even a business owner, look within themselves and say, yeah, I've done it before. Let me figure out what that is for me. So thank you both for that. And then the third question I want to ask up under that, the same, business owner hat is, do you believe that certain people like family and friends are obligated to support your business? And I guess you guys both said a little bit. So if you want to say a little snippet about that, we can kind of move on. But I know you guys both mentioned that a little bit. I know, Denise, you said specifically, yes, you expect the people close to you to support for sure.
I think they should. And I think as Christians, I keep going to that because I'm a Christian. I wear the shirt. I am. And I'm trying to get better every day. Mm-hmm. And I think we have obligation. I mean, the word clearly says that we encourage one another. We don't do things for conceit or, for our own self-interest. We are supposed to encourage each other, lift each other up, support, serve each other. And that means when we're doing kingdom business, so I do expect that if nobody else, us as Christians should be supporting one another's gifts and businesses, our purpose. If we're walking in our purpose, it should be an intentional thing that we do. Do I do a great job of it all the time? Absolutely not. Am I trying to get better? Absolutely. I kick myself all the time. And I'll say this real quick, Damien. Because we don't do real quick. Is that I have someone who manages my social media for me. She's an awesome, amazing. She's a minister actually too. She's an amazing woman of God. And I have another young lady who's part of the Butterfly Leadership Initiative that goes in and she will like certain posts for me and say, Miss Denise, don't forget such and such had a birthday. Don't forget, because I don't want her to respond for me, right? And so I have to intentionally set time throughout the week to go in and say, happy birthday, great on that promotion. Let me know how I can support you in your conference. I'm here for you. Good job. I'm watching you. Because if I don't do that intentionally, that's really supporting somebody and showing love, right? And so I don't do it with an expectation of them doing it, but I expect as a Christian that we are encouraging one another and showing that we love each other. We're watching and we approve. And if you need me, here I go. I do expect that that's an accountability measure. We should be doing that.
Damien?
So I do think that, I kind of go back to what I just said before about unagreed upon, unmet, and unspoken expectations. Mm-hmm. I think that as believers, we should be looking for opportunities to support one another. Look, it's a whole lot of people out here spreading darkness in the world. And those of us that are supposed to be salt and light, it should be a given that we're going to support people who are about kingdom business, right? It should be a given. Support with your time, support with your talent, support with your treasure, right? And so I don't think that's robbery. We should be able to expect support from one another. We should be building up one another. And so because if we're not looking to build up another believer, we know that we can't count on the enemy to do it. He's looking to tear us down in every corner. So we have to be about supporting and building up one another. And I think it's reasonable to expect that. But I think the difficult part for me to learn, and if I'm 100% honest with you tonight, because I don't want to come here and fake the funk, I am still learning how to speak truth in love.
Come on.
Right? And it is a difficult thing to be able to tell someone, how you feel when you are first of all, I always believe that you don't ever want to say anything when you're emotionally charged, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to regret what you say. But I
Right.
do think that if we have a real relationship with the Lord, we should be able to call on the Holy Spirit to give us peace and to guide us into the truth and guide us in our speech, to bridle our tongue. But then we have to be, it takes courage, right? And there are some people that I have learned, and I'm one of them, that are naturally conflict averse. Now you got, you do have those people. Like, for
Okay.
example, I am conflict averse until you get me upset.
Yeah.
When you get me fired up, I'm ready to go at it. But for the most part, I'm chilling. I'm conflict averse. My wife is very sort of pro conflict, but not in an not from an antagonist type of perspective. If there is an issue, she wants to deal with it immediately. Oh, something going on right now. You're in your feelings. Let's talk about it. So she gonna call it out, and she gonna and not because she's looking to be combative, but because she wants to get the issue in the open, put light on it, and then let's get it out the way so we can move on again in
Right.
love. But not everyone is that way, right? And so for me, one of those areas of growth is being able to engage in an uncomfortable conversation from the perspective of, I want to help this brother or sister become better. And if they have hurt me, or if they've done something to upset me, my first response as a believer is to declare noble intent,
Come on.
because we're so quick to rush to judgment that the person, they knew that I was doing this and they knew I was doing that and they should have supported me. And you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know if they found out that somebody got cancer when you was doing your product launch and they might have missed them, right? You don't know what kind of relationship issues they're dealing with, what kind of health issues they're dealing with, and you have them up, you throwing darts at their pictures on the wall because they didn't support your thing, and you just don't know. So I think we have to come from a place of declaring noble intent. Another way of saying that is just giving the benefit of the doubt,
Give them some
assuming
grace.
the best and not the worst, right? And then
Right.
engaging in the conversation from that place, first clarifying what happened, right? Sharing that when this happened, this is how it made me feel, and I just wanted to make you aware because I don't want to assume that this is what that you were aware, and give them a chance to say their part. And you might find that it's not even what you thought it was, and they do love you.
Oh,
And
wow.
maybe they shared your stuff and you just didn't know they shared your stuff.
Right.
Right?
You know what? I can I please.
Go
Come
ahead.
That
on, come on,
that was
come on.
me. Come on, Damien. Listen. That was me until I kept the main thing the main thing. That's real talk. That's real talk. You know, the unfortunate part is that supportive individuals are not a dime a dozen. So we have to understand that. Unsupported people are a dime a dozen because we're all in our own lane. We're all doing our own thing. I do know that for me in the past, before I had to do the self check and before I had to keep the main thing, and serving, I was that person who didn't ask questions, detailed questions first. I didn't. I was like, hold up now. There's three things you done missed, or three things you didn't support it, because I expected, again, that group to support. But you know what? God is the gatherer. And that's where we get all jacked up sometimes. We make it so much about us versus about like I said, Ubuntu. I am because we are. Right? So if you keep focused here and you're doing the right thing, it's going to come. Like I said, that 74% men, probably 90% of them are outside of my circle. Probably 95% of them.
Mm-hmm.
That means that what God has you doing is maybe it's not for that circle, or that circle will come around when they're ready. Now, that doesn't take away the accountability and the responsibility, though. It does not, because I still believe at some point in that year, you should share. We should share. If we don't need it, someone else might need it, right? Someone else might have a child that needs a leadership initiative, mentoring group. That child is struggling with public speaking, something. So at some point, we are supposed to expect, not at some point, all the time, we're supposed to expect each other to help each other and support each other and share and and collaborate and connect. We are. Okay. But I do like the fact that you said noble intent is to give each other grace also, to give each other grace and mercy. The same grace we want, we need to give it as well.
Good deal. Now I'm gonna take a pause, and I don't see any questions or anything in the comments, but there are some consumers in the that has come on as well. So I'm gonna switch gears now. So you could go ahead and switch your hat, Damien, Denise. We're gonna talk. You are a consumer now. You're no longer a business owner. So don't bring up business owner stuff now.
Okay.
And for those consumers that are out there right now that are in the chat that are watching, if you want to chime in on any of these questions, and I'm just going to combine a few just for the sake of time to make sure we just, stay focused on that. But it's something actually that I kind of brought up earlier where I talked about feeling guilty. So do you feel obligated to support a family member or friend's business, or feel guilty when you don't? And if you have ever done it before, have you ever supported a business out of guilt, even though you weren't interested in the product or services? And, did you ever kind of wonder like, well, why did I do that? Like, so that's kind of a loaded thing, but it's all around the same thing. So I just wanted to get your perspective on the full scope of that. And again, if anyone who's watching want to chime in, definitely I will post your comment or question up there, and we'll, talk about it and look at that as well.
So I'll say that I've supported friends and family members, church members, businesses, not out of guilt, but there are times when I've supported out of a feeling of obligation, which is a different thing, right? And there are people that are close to me, and times where, like I can think of one of my best friends. She launched a journal. I had every intent in the world to buy a couple of the journals and to share it with, because it was a journal for supervisors. And I had intent to buy a bunch and then to just share them with people, just to kind of give her a support and to say, job well done, great thing. And, kids, family life got busy, and it just fell off of the forefront of my desktop, right? Didn't mean, my intent was there, but it just, we're all living at 100 miles per hour sometimes. And sometimes you mean to do good, but if you don't do something in the moment when you think about it, you on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And before you know, you're thinking about, what was that? I meant to do this thing. And so that's what happened with her. And I remembered for a long time that I felt a little bit ashamed, because I know that she is one of the people that I count on for support and is quick to support. And so that added a feeling of guilt, like, man, I know that there's been times I've launched programs and she didn't even participate in the program, but she supported with her money just to say, I'm with you, right? And that's kind of an understanding that we have, and I didn't support her at the time, and it made me feel some kind of way, right? But I bought stuff, like I've had church members that have written books, and I bought the book, and up until now, I can't even tell you where the book is. I haven't read it, but I didn't buy it because I wanted to read it. I bought it because I wanted to give them my support. So there's a difference, right?
Yeah.
That's good, Damien. That's good. I'm telling both of y'all are really just saying some transparent things, and I'm just so thankful. I mean, because I really think people on both ends of the spectrum need to hear these things. I think people think that we're just out here by ourselves and really do these things out of obligation or out of guilt or whatever it is, right? But to bring out the ashamed part. And I love what you also said about the fact that, people need to also understand as a business owner that there are people who do have good intentions and maybe forget, maybe, don't mean no harm, but they might have, again, it slipped their mind, and, whatever the case may be. So again, we need grace and mercy on both sides, right? What I'm saying? So it's like, so I think people, again, need to hear both sides. And I'm so glad that you guys are really bringing out some transparency and some nuggets for people to really understand that, because I mean, it's easy to come on and be fake, have a facade, and that like everything you're put together and I'm great. You have this winning smile,
Right.
A lot of us, we fail to come on and be transparent about who we really are, what we truly deal with. And And so it actually, honestly, having these transparent conversations make the next guy not feel so bad. Like, okay, well, good, shoot, I went through that as well, but it make us feel like, ooh, I'm glad, that somebody else said it. Cause yeah, I kind of go through that too. So you don't feel alone. So again, I just thank you for this. Cause I think it's going to be really good for people who are, again, watching now and watching the replay. Denise, what do you want to say about that?
I would say, first of all, echo everything that Damien said, everything. And I'll say this. So yes, I do feel, obligated. I feel, I think maybe obligation. I just feel that I'm accountable for support. I want to support their business and not only just support them in buying something, okay, because sometimes that's their livelihood. But support them and giving them feedback about it. And I'll say, I've done this before. Would you mind if I give you a recommendation, or have you tried this already before I give you this recommendation? It really helped me or it really hurt me. So sometimes I'll do that because I feel like it takes a tribe, and if I don't like their service, I give them feedback. And so I think that's real important too as a consumer, because quite frankly, we'll go to Walmart, right? Walmart will have 20 lines and 2 people working. And no matter how much they make us mad, we go right there. We go right back. We look for them fallback signs and that smiley face. We go right back. And sometimes we don't do that as consumers for women-owned businesses. We don't do it for Christian-owned businesses. Or in Christian women, all that we don't. Or melanated businesses, we don't. We get mad and we don't go back. So as a consumer, I've been very intentional lately, especially as I do my self-assessment as a business owner and as a consumer, to give feedback. Hold myself accountable to support you. I'll buy the book. I'll come to the conference. I'll buy the facial product. I'll buy the head wrap. I'll buy the shoes. I'm going to give you feedback, both positive and constructive, unsolicited, because I want you to be great. And especially if it's your livelihood. And a lot of times as a consumer, I'll offer free services because, again, it's a gift that God gave me in certain areas. I'll offer free services to help. Do you need help with your website? So as a consumer, my mind, thank you, God, is going in a whole bunch of different directions because I believe it takes a tribe. I'm really conscious of that. Just like when someone's speaking as a public speaker, I'm watching what not only their content, but their delivery, so that if I can support them in any way, then I have that right there in my mind. And that's all love. So as a consumer, it's kind of hard for me because I'm still thinking as a consumer and also as them being a business owner. So I think that's a level of empathy, I guess you would say, putting myself in their shoes. So yeah, I did feel accountable and obligated. Never guilty.
Okay.
So yeah, I've never really felt guilty about doing it when I didn't. I was just like, oops, let me call this chick and tell her I forgot. Girl, yeah. I'm on the way.
Yeah. And just the last question from a consumer perspective. I don't see any questions in the chat from consumers right now. So I'm just going to keep rolling, as I said earlier, and then we'll get into our final thoughts. So the last question is, have someone else announcing their business or the life they are creating for themselves have caused you to check in with yourself about where you are? And this is before you became, the great Denise Barrett and the great Damian Johnson. So, have that, I'm just saying, I know we've all grown and have evolved, but have that ever been a time where you like really checked in yourself? And I'll start to say for me, yeah, it made me look at myself to say, where I'm at, so I can honestly say, not that I didn't like or support it, but it did make me think to myself, like, man, I didn't had this, again, going back to what I said last week, missed opportunities. There's opportunities that I've had to do things and I need to get myself together. So it was kind of, it made me stop and look at myself, but it was also encouraging to say, you know what, girl, you need to get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? So, I start with myself. What about you guys?
So
look at each other.
I'm letting Denise go first.
Okay, so I that's a hard one for me, Bernithia, and I think because you know, I've had those discussions with people that I mentor a lot because they'll say things like, everybody's got a podcast, and you know, because I mentor mainly millennials, and they'll say, oh, she's doing that already, or she's doing that already, and I go, it's okay. There are a billion people out there, and God gave that gift to you and to her and to him. It's all separate. Your fingerprint is on it, and you're going to authentically do it the way God has for you. And so I think because I have that conversation all the time, maybe I've been kind of numb to, you know, where people are and how it relates to where I'm at, because I'm having that conversation all the time of what's for me is for me. Stay focused on what he gave you. Nobody can be you but you. Right. You know, and there might be 10 million podcasts out there, but you know, their gift is different, their audience is different, who they're serving and supporting and helping and who's helping them is different, you know. And so I think I've been kind of blind to kind of comparing myself, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, or going, man, she got that, I probably better hurry to get this, because no matter what, it's always going to be different, because we're all different, which is such a miracle in itself, right? I mean, we're all different. There's nobody the same. We can have the same Empowered Woman podcast, 100 people, and it's all going to be different. Right. And it's all going to probably help somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I think I've never, you know, I had never really focused on it, I guess. You just kind of, you know, that's why it was so hard for me to answer it, because I'm constantly having conversation with my mentees. Don't get focused too hard on that. Or if you do, use it to your advantage. Here's that point that I was thinking of just now. Use it to your advantage of, you know, hi, can I mentee under you or walk beside you? Is there anything I can help you with? Because I've been wanting to do this and I haven't been able to. I want to learn from you. What were your struggles? What were your, you know, what were your successes? So use it as a way to kind of raise your hand to serve somebody along the way and learn. And then, you know, you might do better. You might do the same. It's all relevant, you know? So.
And Damien, what I want you to do is answer the question and also give me your final thoughts, because I know you have to hop right off at 8. Yes, so just go ahead and just roll right into your final thoughts for me, and then I'll let Denise give her final thoughts, and then I'll give my final thoughts, and we'll close. Go ahead.
Okay, so first off, let me just say thank you for the opportunity to come and share some time with you, and for doing just an amazing job. You are an amazing woman, and you know I've known you for years, and I've watched you grow, and I just got to tell you, it's just like a rose that continues to bloom. And so, so I just continue to pray that God just continues to open doors for you, right?
Yes.
Pressed down, shaken together, and running over blessings. So I unfortunately have to report that I am not as mature as the evangelist Denise Barrett is. So I done been there, I done that, and I got the T-shirt to show for it. I got some battle wounds. I got some. So look. So I've experienced it. Like, I remember when I first got saved, right? And I remember that when one of my close friends that we used to be saved, and then, you know, creep and tip after church and do our little dirt, and then, you know, you go through that little jackleg phase, right? And then when she got in the mindset to get holy, and I still was in the jackleg phase, and she was like, looking at where she was going, it was convicting to me, because she would represent a mirror of what I was not. And it made me feel some kind of way. And the outward manifestation of that was that I would lash out at her, "Oh, you too holy for me now, and you this and you that." And I just wanted to cut ties with the friendship. The reality is that she was reminding me, it was a constant reminder that I needed to come higher, and I wasn't ready. And so I've experienced, I give that as an example to say, I've experienced that even in business where I have a number of friends that are highly successful, like levels above me. We're not just talking about they 2 feet in front of me. I'm talking about they like miles in front of me. Like, even if I was to run, it would still be hard for me to catch up. I might need to catch the martyr to catch up with them, right? Jump on the train or something, because I ain't gonna be able to do it running. And so what naturally happened is that I would look at where they were, and then I would look at where I was not. And
Mm.
and for a season, it would cause me to spiral downward, right?
Mm.
Because then it would be like, well, I ain't gonna be able to do that, and they got this, and they got that, and I'm not this, and I start to get really down on myself. And then a season came when I had to say, you know what? God is no respecter of person. What He does for
That's
one,
right.
He'll do for the other. And I had a mentor that says, Damien, success always leaves clues. And if you are willing to do what successful people do, you can have the same success, right? And so I use that to say, all right, let me just take my eyes off of them and celebrate what they are doing, but let me put my blinders on and let me run my own race.
There
Come
you
on
go.
now.
Love
And there
it.
are times when I have to remind myself of that, because when you're surrounded by people that are super successful, sometimes it can be intimidating, because sometimes they're speaking from a
Mhm.
place that you don't exist yet. You're not walking in the place where they're walking. They've got perspective, and they can talk about things that they want to do. They can have greater vision because they have greater exposure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
the trick to it is to not let the enemy cause you to go into a downward spiral and to feel defeated, and to not realize that the gift that they have and they're using it, good for them. But the gifts that I have are equally as valuable. And if I just
Right.
activate those gifts, and if I just take the next step that's in front of me, because Coach BJ, here's what I've discovered. Most people fail not because they lack the talent or the ability or even the resources. Most people fail because they fail to take the next right step.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They're not doing the thing
Right.
that's in front of them to do, and they make excuses and they make alibis, and they got 1,000 reasons why they can't do it. And any reason to default to doing something less urgent, less important, they take it versus putting their head down and doing the hard work to bring forth their genius and to manifest their gifting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it takes single-mindedness, and it takes focus. I have yet to meet a
Yeah.
successful person that is not disciplined, that is not single-minded, and is not focused on getting to their goal. And so I think, in summary, my final thought is this: we need to run our own race. We need to be the friend that we want others to be to us. So before I go taking the speck out of your eye, let me take the log out of my own first.
Amen.
Right?
Come on
Amen.
now. That's right. Well,
All
Daniel,
right.
I
Love
Well,
it.
appreciate you so much. You have a safe flight. I thank you for joining. I know you've had a busy day and going to have a busy evening apparently. So
and a busy
thank you
weekend.
for
But listen,
joining.
I love
Always
you.
be
Thank
supporting.
you.
I love you too, Damien. Thank you
Love
for
you,
joining.
Thank you
Damien.
so much. Love you too. Take
All
care.
right.
God bless. Bye bye.
All right.
You
Bye bye.
too. Bye bye.
So, Denise, I want you to go ahead and give us your final thoughts, my dear.
Oh, wow. So, a whole bunch of final thoughts. First of all, this has been awesome, and you are awesome. I thank you for being obedient, because I know we had a conversation, obedient to what God placed in your spirit. You're one of those abide in Jesus chicks, and I love it. He's like, look, we having a conversation over here, Denise, and this is a look.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So keep on doing what you're doing, my sister. These are great talks. I knew Coach BJ when Coach BJ was starting out. And so I'm excited to always be able to have your autograph of your phone number. So, I'm in there. I'm in there. So I would say, just mainly as a closing point, that it is a mindset thing, and I'll say I probably have about maybe 5 or 6 things. I'll try to stop at 6, but it is a mindset thing, I'm holding firm with that. And again, I'm going to thank God for my pastor of telling me that all the time, of keeping the main thing the main thing. Mm-hmm. So there are billions of people out there, billions, that need what the gift that God has given you. And a lot of times they need that gift in your business. They need that gift in your charisma, in your smile, in your whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Those various gifts that God's given you. So keep the mindset right. Keep the focus. Keep the focus. And number 2, I think I said this earlier. What's in it for them? A lot of times our businesses are self-seeking. It should be for others? What's in it for them? Tell them what the outcome. If you want support, let them know what you believe they're going to benefit from utilizing your product or your service. What's the benefit for them? How will they grow? How will they become better? How will it affect their relationship with God? What type of knowledge or resources will you expect them to get from your product or service? So again, it's a mindset thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. Know there's somebody out there that needs what you have, the gift that you have. They need it in their life, okay, to get to that next breakthrough in their life, and then sell them on. Or make sure you communicate to them what's in it for them. And I gotta say, think like a coach. I talk to Coach BJ on a regular basis. Think like a coach, okay? Ask those open-ended questions and find out. Maybe your product service doesn't help them, but it might help someone else. So use some open-ended questions. Reach out to them. Don't be afraid to touch those who are supporting you. Touch them with a phone call, with an instant message, with a text or something, and say, hey, I noticed you were on my page. It's those little things that make a big difference in business, okay? And then I'll probably close with, no, there's two more. Make sure that you understand the pillars of support. Yes, finances, that's awesome. You need money. Money helps with ministry. Money helps you grow. It does. You can't go somewhere and just walk in and take something off the shelf. You got to pay for it. So, remember the pillars of support. Financial, sharing posts, encouraging someone, giving them feedback. And when I say share it with somebody else that might need it. You might not like my style. Somebody else might like my dry humor. Somebody else might like my topics if you don't. So do the Christian thing of supporting your sister and your brother when they are doing a business that's building, kingdom building, or they are operating in their purpose. Okay. And keep a sense of humor. I think that's good. Keep a sense of humor, keep a sense of gratefulness, continue to network with like-minded people. I think that's really important as a business owner and as a consumer with like-minded people. You think about it, Jesus, listen, he handpicked his disciples. Okay. So, and look, for 30 years, I think what is about 30 years, he wasn't really operating in his true purpose, right? He was those last 3. But, so you got to really make sure that you choose your circles wisely in business. That's important. That's really, really important. And again, I probably could talk all night about this because I'm super passionate about it. But I really appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully those nuggets will help someone, that's in business. And then pick up and keep going. Pick yourself up and keep going.
That's right. Yeah, and thank you for that. And that actually kind of rolls into some of my final thoughts. The biggest thing is just to remember a lot of times, someone is giving you their opinion, right? On a lot of things. They're giving you your opinion. So what you have to do on both ends is really just, inspect that, right? And I'm going to put the business owner hat on at this point to say that if you have done your market research, you have done your due diligence, what you have is solid, you've put yourself in a place where you're good to go. Again, you have to just focus on, it's just that person, opinion, right? So what you want to be able to do is really, truly just focus on whose opinion matters. Find your cheerleaders, find your supporters, find those people who are going to encourage you and lift you up. As Damien mentioned earlier about, the affirmations, and some people need that little, push. My sister Deborah on here, she gives me a lot of encouragement. She shared my posts. She called me about my topic. She, a lot of, various things. So, she gave me her feedback and that support. Denise, you mentioned feedback earlier, right? That's so important, right? But again, you got to look at who that feedback is coming from. Are they really giving you constructive feedback, or are they feedback for what's good for them? So again, on either side, we have to assess what that feedback means, but take it, but also focus on really, as you dissect it, who opinion really matters, right? And so don't worry about, really the people who aren't asking how it's going. And this is another part of it too, that, as far as, don't worry about the people that's not asking you, how is it going? Coach BJ, or, or even sharing your content, Coach BJ, that's fine. The thing is, as we kind of all touched on tonight about not taking it personally, one thing as a business owner that we have to focus on is that they just may not be your ideal client anyway, right? So that's the thing that we have to, really constantly look at and focus on as business owner, right? And so the people, who are actively, discouraging you, hopefully they're for those who are, ask yourself, really thinking about, where does that come from? Again, it's a part of the whole reason why we're really doing this discussion is that you really need to look inside. Where does that come from? Again, is it your own level of success? Is it, what is that? So we need to look at it from both ends of the spectrum. And even for those who aren't really pushing in your cheerleader, it doesn't mean that it's the end of your friendship, in most cases, or whatever it is. It's just that you need to adjust your expectations. Again, as Damien mentioned earlier, you didn't have that direct conversation, and Denise talked about communication, right? Communication is really key when it comes on both ends of the spectrum, as the business owner and as the consumer. Communication, is the key, and, for those of you who are out there who are watching and who will watch the replay, who choose not to support businesses, I would encourage you to do two things. Seek to understand why. That's the first thing. Seek to understand, and the second thing I would say is that, again, if you don't want to support, someone's business as a business owner, then you can even share it with them. Again, give them that feedback and tell them why. Have the courage to at least tell them why if you don't choose to, because apparently you're connected to them either by family, friends, or social media, right? So if you don't choose to support them, then why be connected to them in the first place, right? So it must be something that you need to do. Then don't be connected at all. Then it's the reason why you still, there, right? So you get feedback and share. And for those of you who are always, trying to support small business, again, I would encourage you to give small business that constructive feedback. Never support a business out of obligation, because as I stated earlier, that can be misleading. We could think like, so we come back to you again and you're rolling your eyes like, God, why she want me to, I don't really want to do this. But again, we're under the assumption that you love what we have to offer and you want to support. So I'm going to come back and say, girl, I got this new thing, going on that I want to tell you about, and I'm excited, but you're looking like, I'm really just not feeling it, right? So again, that can be misleading. So we want to make sure that we're being open, honest, and transparent, and then, if you don't understand that person's business, you want to know more before you invest your money, then connect with them and just ask. There's nothing wrong with asking if you don't understand their business or their concept, or even if they wrote a book, well, what is your book about? Even before you invest your money in it, make sure it's something that's going to benefit you, right? Or solving a problem, or, that we talked about earlier.
Or benefit someone else.
Right, exactly. Or could benefit someone else. You're again, seek to understand. And as I said, last week, on my live, you happen to be again scrolling through Facebook and, you seeing someone else being successful, and you're not liking it, or you're not commenting, or you're not feeling any kind of thing, or promoting their business or sharing it or anything, just look within yourself and just really, well, why didn't I? I just want people to really be thought-provoking about and be aware about everything that they're doing, on both ends, both as a consumer and both as the business owner. We need to really, there was a lot of transparency talked about tonight, and I hope at least as the consumers that are watching can really see that we struggle and we have our own, our own stuff, what I'm saying, that we deal with, that we trying to overcome and still maybe trying to fight ourselves, you guys to also understand what we go through and how we maybe feel hurt and how we maybe have also missed the mark. We maybe want to support or do something. We might have missed the mark, right? So it was really a good conversation, on both the consumer and the business owner side. And I really hope you guys enjoyed, opening up this conversation tonight, and that you really have learned something on both sides of the spectrum. And I would love for you to really share this live with others. If you didn't get a chance to look at it live or you're watching the replay, please share it with others. I really would love for people to really, again, seek to understand both as a consumer. There could be some business owners that wasn't watching tonight. They need to hear this again, that they're not alone. Consumers need to hear this, that they're not alone. A lot of people are feeling this way and really thinking this way. Again, it's just something that we unfortunately fail to talk about. We fail to discuss, and we just really need to open up and share these things. So again, as always, I really thank you guys for watching. Always, I really do. And also, in June, the month of June, I'm going to have some really great spotlights next month, and I'm going to have some experts, and it's just going to be some really great talks next month. So again, follow me on my social media platforms. Everywhere is _ Coach BJ, at the Source of Hope 1, as well on my Facebook page to really look at those topics. Excuse me, that I will be covering next month. I'm not going to even share them because they're going to be good. They're going to be different than but because I have everything planned out, but I'm just going to let you see what those topics are going to be about. Again, they're always there to transform, always there, put out there to help people. And again, I hope this talk tonight has helped you. You guys are welcome. Everyone is saying thank you. So you are very welcome, Deborah and Tony. I appreciate you guys for watching. As always, Denise, thank you so much for taking out your time. I want people to understand that, I don't pay people to come on my talks, and this is truly their own time, their gifts, their talents, and what they're bringing. So I thank Damien. I know he's gone, but I thank you, Denise, as well, for taking out the time, your busy schedule, to come in and really share, your thoughts about this topic that we share tonight. So I thank you. I know you guys thank me, but I thank you guys as well, because you don't have to do it and you don't have to say yes. So I truly appreciate you guys. I truly appreciate you so much. So I love you guys. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, and you take care. Bye.